Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're gonna take a look at the top 10 buffs for the Open Ultra League. As a lot of people asked me to do this already, so now we're going to take a look into the Open Ultra League a little bit before it even starts. It's going to be available in a week, so definitely you can already take a look at some Pokemon in your storage and maybe you find them. First things first, there are not that many crazy buffs. We're going to take a look here. First one, which I actually found super interesting, is going to be Ursaring right now. Ursaring going to get the move Trailblaze, which is going to be very interesting as Ursaring has basically one of the perfect movesets. Kinda. You're going to have access to both Shadow Claw as well as Counter, while Trailblaze is going to be able to buff your attack, and also going to give you some decent coverage. While it doesn't look that crazy on paper, it's definitely a cool Pokemon to force some shields from the opponent because it's very attack rated, especially as a Shadow variant. Of course, it's not going to be the craziest meta breaker ever, but I feel like Trailblaze is one of the moves where actually it does matter kinda on the Ursaring side, because now you're going to be able to just force some shields, boost your attack, and if you're Shadow plus Shadow Claw, this is going to be very cool to have. So, in my opinion, very cool upgrade for this Pokemon. I kinda want to try this out, mainly also because it's just a fun Pokemon to use and definitely going to allow you to get some shields from opponents while having very nice coverage now, also for something like Tapu Fini, which you're most likely going to be able to beat with this one here right now. But yeah, very squishy but cool Pokemon. In general, there is no real order for today's video. We're just going to take a look at 10 cool Pokemon that got a little bit of a buff, and we're going to talk a little bit about how impactful those are actually. And we're going to take a look at the next one here right now. Going to be Golisopod, having now a better X-Scissor. Going to be interesting, going to give you a lot more wins against those Dark-type Pokemon, which were actually a little bit difficult before because you have Shadow Claw as a fast move. But now with X-Scissor being the Surf clone that it is now as a bug typing, going to allow you to have a way better matchup against Obstagoon, the Guzzlord, the Trevenant, the Umbreon, the Venusaur. So this is going to be definitely the Pokemon that's going to benefit the most from the X-Scissor buff, because Shadow Claw going to generate 8 energy per usage, which allows you to get to exactly 40 energy, which is now the X-Scissor energy value after 5 Shadow Claws. So you basically don't waste any energy, and you only need 5 fast move, aka 10 turns to get there, while for every other bug kinda it's not the same. Like basically you're going to always need like one more fast move to get there. So for example, I also want to put into Scissor into this video today, and then I looked at it and kind of should like look like that Night Slash is still the better move to go for the Scissor, which is kind of sad to see, just because you need one more extra fast move. So honestly, I would have loved to see a different buff towards X-Scissor. I would have loved if they put it just still at 35 energy and then maybe just buffed it up by like 10 damage or something like this. I'm fairly certain it would have helped out way more Pokemon, but like this, at least Golisopod going to be a little bit better with this move here, allowing it to hit some more Pokemon. You see here, by the way, the average rating goes a little bit down. This is just because you're going to have now more energy for this one. While it does way more damage, it also needs more energy, and in a lot of scenarios, you can just bait something and then go for the liquidation and then knock something out. This is just more something that's like based on a simulation that PvPoke does. So I also just realized I forgot to put the 9 away from the Golisopod, but we're going to keep it right now, as I already talked about. But yeah, Golisopod here right now, going to be interesting. Next one, going to be Heliolisk. This was basically the slot where I had the Scissor before, but Scissor was just not really doing anything. But actually, Heliolisk definitely deserves a spot on this list here right now. Getting now Breaking Swipe, allowing it to be very, very cool for this league. You're going to see already, you're going to win 11 more matchups, which is kind of wild. But also, you're going to gain like an average rating of 136 here, which is really nice to see. Very cool Pokemon now actually being able to also destroy Giratina if they are running Shadow Claw, which is the most common one, because you're going to be able to resist the Shadow Claw damage twice, plus you're going to have super effective damage with Breaking Swipe, and you can debuff the opponent. So actually Giratina definitely does not want to battle against Heliolisk, which is very cool to see. So next one coming up here going to be Skuntank. Skuntank going to get the move Trailblaze, and it's actually one of the Pokemon where I really would like to try that one out. It's a little bit hit or miss though, but I feel like it's definitely a little bit of a better move. Before, most people were running Flamethrower to give coverage for like Steel-type Pokemon. You can still go for Crunch though, which is going to be neutral against most of them, not against Cobalion. So if you're gonna go ahead and go for the Trailblaze now, you're gonna get completely hardwalled by Cobalion in this meta. But Trailblaze going to give you an answer or like a one-shot option against something like a Swampert, which is going to be nice. Plus, especially in the Shadow variant, you're going to be able to buff your own attack. but it's not the craziest buff here. If it's even a buff, it's definitely, I think it's a buff. Honestly, I think it's definitely a little bit of a better one to go for the Skuntank. It's just a very small one though, but might be situational a little bit better, especially also against something like the Tapu Fini, because you usually running Sludge Bomb on this Pokemon. Now you're most likely going to be able to just go for the Trailblaze, farm down, getting some energy afterwards, plus an attack boost with the Shadow damage might be the way to go. But let's take a look at the next Pokemon coming up, going to be Mandibuzz. Most likely -5 energy for the Aerial Ace while I'm recording, at least. It's not yet live if we're going to actually get the 5 energy debuff there. But otherwise, you're going to see here right now, this Pokemon was already very strong before, but now we're going to be even better. Dark Pulse is definitely the way to go for this Pokemon now, as said prior already, because now you're going to have a better bait move, and Dark Pulse just does a little bit more damage than Foul Play. So I would go for Dark Pulse just for the damage, especially as you still have Aerial Ace, which is going to be a very good bait move there. Very likely it's going to be 40 energy. I had like some informations like some sources basically that told me before that it would be most likely 35 energy, but I'm fairly certain it's going to be just 40. 35 would be very strong and very overpowered for the Mandibuzz. Like this is going to be definitely way more balanced, so hopefully it's staying at 40 energy for Aerial Ace. So, next one coming up here right now, going to be our friend Greedent. Now getting the fast move much shot compared to the Bullet Seed. Going to make it even spammier than before, and was already very spammy. Going to let you win basically 3 more matchups here, going to be very nice, but in general going to be a very great lead as well as swap. A little bit tricky against those Cobalion, of course, if they're still going to be as common, which I do think that they will be more common anyway. But definitely going to be an upgrade for this Pokemon. If you have one build, definitely try it out again. Going to be also better against Giratina, as you now do A, more damage, and B, you're going to generate energy faster. And you're going to get to the crunch always after 5 fast moves, which is really nice to see. Same for Body Slam, you're always going to get there after 4 fast moves. So very spammy Pokemon, very cool Pokemon. Can't wait to try it out as well, both for Great League as well as for the Ultra League. Next Pokemon coming up, Hitmontop, getting Triple Axle. Actually going to be mostly more impacting this Pokemon in the Ultra League compared to the Great League. Main reason for this is just the extra bulk, which is going to really allow this Pokemon to shine here right now. Going to allow it to just going to get the attack buff while staying in for a little bit longer with a little bit of bulk. Might be really cool. Still, Shadow is of course cool to get the extra damage output there. But maybe even for the Ultra League, normal variant can be also as decent, as you're going to be able to still just tank some more moves, and you can add up the boost a little bit easier with that one. But both of them are totally fine. Here we're going to have the normal variant, and you see already, it's a fairly decent upgrade. Going to allow you to win 2 more matchups in general, but going to gain an average rating of 502 is going to be, not 502, 52. Going to be, of course, very, very nice for you for the Hitmontop. Very cool upgrade, definitely the move you want to go for, and definitely makes this Pokemon a little bit more viable. Let's take a look at the next Pokemon coming up. It's going to be the Magnezone, and Magnezone is actually one of the Pokemon I'm really looking forward to, as this Pokemon going to be able to beat Mandibuzz plus Tapu Fini, plus having a decent matchup against Registeel, and in general I don't really expect to see that many ground type Pokemon. A little bit weak against Cobalion, a little bit weak against also the Ursaring, but here you see right now, this Spark is already nerfed though. This Spark is already nerfed. It's 6/6 energy and damage for me, so like it was a little bit better the last season already with Spark, so that's a little bit tricky to showcase right now. But Volt Switch definitely going to be a great upgrade for this Pokemon, allowing it to generate energy at the same pace as Spark before the buff, before the nerf, and also going to just do way more damage than Spark, which is going to be super nice for it. Going to put a lot of Pokemon into range for Wild Shot as well as Mirror Shot. And again here, if you have a Shadow variant, it's most likely the best one that you can choose for, so definitely try to use the Shadow variant for Magnezone. Definitely a decent upgrade, definitely expect to see this quite often, to be fair. Having a lot of potential. You might actually see some people running Flash Cannon over the Mirror Shot, allowing you to do more damage against Giratina. Is most likely even better for you as well, so here getting a nice average rating as well, and also having a little bit more of different options, going to be very cool for it. Second to last one, we're going to have the Steelix here right now. Steelix going to gain a Breaking Swipe, going to allow it to do a little bit more damage here in general, or like a little bit more of a better play. But the usual moveset before was Psychic Fangs plus Crunch, which basically was Dragon Tail plus Crunch, going to allow you to destroy both Giratina as well as the Cresselia. But now you're going to completely change the charge moves and you're going to go for Breaking Swipe plus Earthquake, which will now allow you to gain an average rating of 58, which is really, really nice as well, but gains you 3 more matchups, as well as just in general, it's going to be such an annoying Pokemon to deal with. This is going to be Steelix's main area where you kind of want to play it. Fairly certain that the normal variant is better than the Shadow variant, so definitely also just you don't even need the Shadow variant to be good here. Wins basically everything where it's in a neutral scenario, where you don't get hit super effectively by any charge move like Earthquake, or if you don't go up against a Flying type Pokemon. This Pokemon basically wins everything in the neutral scenario, so it's kind of wild how strong this Pokemon is, not gonna lie. It's going to be super, super strong and also most likely very common. And now imagine Steelix together with Registeel and team in the Ultra League, plus like Deoxys defense in the lead. Good night then, I would say, good night. Let's take a look now at the final Pokemon for today, which is going to be Ampharos. Yeah, Ampharos is getting also Trailblaze, which is going to be an interesting move for this Pokemon, as it's usually kinda getting walled by any kind of ground type Pokemon, especially something like a Swampert. But now with Trailblaze, you're going to be able to one-shot it. You see already, you win 2 more matchups with it, but you're going to have a lower average rating because you cannot go for the stab Thunder Punch here. You have to have Brutal Swing on this Pokemon. There's no way not to run Brutal Swing on it. But I'm fairly certain that Trailblaze is going to be preferred on this Pokemon compared to the other options before, especially for the Shadow variant, as Shadow Volt Switch buffed is sounding very, very juicy to be fair, so I'm fairly certain that the Ampharos is going to have a great time here. Definitely going to be one of the better Pokemon and better upgrades for the Ultra League. But in general, I have to say, I don't think there's going to be that much change right now for the Ultra League, but there could be some change with upcoming Pokemon that might get released over this season, so we never really know. But right now, I'm fairly certain that a lot of Pokemon that you played before still should be fine. Something like the Sky Attack nerf doesn't really impact the Ultra League at all, so that's going to be something that's not as interesting for it. Earthquake nerf can make basically the Galarian Stunfisk a little bit worse, as well as the Swampert, but especially Shadow Swampert doesn't really care too much about the nerf anyway, as it's usually an overkill move. So I don't really think it's going to change too much, but that's going to be it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, feel free to leave a like, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.